Just days away from Mayor Zohran Mamdani putting out his executive city budget, and that kicks off another 2 months of negotiations before the finalization, right? Part of the negotiations need to include closing a massive budget gap, which has been perhaps the primary focus of City Council Speaker Zohran Menin, just passing her 100-day mark in office. She is going on the record. And Speaker Menin, great to have you back on Picks and Politics. Good to see you.
Great to be with you, Dan.
And congrats on 100 days now as
Thank
Speaker.
you.
And we'll get to the budget talks in just a second, but I do want to begin with a bit of some breaking news on touching on what the mayor has just announced moments before we taped this show on Friday. He says he's going to veto a bill that will establish protecting buffer zones around schools. Now, both of these passed in the City Council. The other one that protects houses of worship. This was big for you. But this is an Eric Dinowitz bill, and I want to read part of what the mayor said. He said, the problem is how widely this bill defines an educational institution and the constitutional concerns it raises regarding New Yorkers' fundamental rights to protest. As the bill is written, everywhere from universities to museums to teaching hospitals could face restrictions, and that is why I am vetoing the legislation. Your reaction?
Well, I met with the mayor last night about this. He expressed the concerns to me. I'll be obviously speaking with my colleagues. I think this bill is an important bill. It was part of our 5-point plan to combat anti-Semitism. And so Councilmember Dinowitz's bill basically says that the NYPD should create a safe perimeter if there are threats of intimidation, harassment, or injury to students. So it doesn't restrict the right to protest, which is, of course, sacrosanct and absolutely has to be protected. Basically, it ensures that students can safely enter and exit their respective school. If it's a peaceful protest, it doesn't apply, and it doesn't require the NYPD to do anything. I also believe this bill is about accountability and transparency around the NYPD, because it forces the NYPD to make the security plan public, which really inures to the benefit of everyone.
So he says it was too broad.
Yeah.
Is it?
Look, I think we'll discuss this with colleagues. The bill passed 30 to 19, so a majority of colleagues supported the bill. I think it's a very important bill. I think it helps not only to combat anti-Semitism and some of the incidents that we've unfortunately seen around our city, but it protects all students at all schools.
What was the conversation with the mayor? Are you willing to maybe make tweaks to the bill so that it could be something that you're both on board with?
We'll obviously have conversations with the colleagues about that. I had a good conversation with him. We agreed to disagree on this. I obviously support the bill. It is part of our 5-point plan to combat anti-Semitism. I think it's an important bill because I think we've had a lot of concerns from students across New York City and from parents. And we heard from religious leaders of religious schools, both Muslim schools, Jewish schools, Catholic schools, who strongly support this bill. It has widespread support. So again, this will be a conversation with colleagues in terms of any next steps. But not off the table that
you'll make tweaks to it?
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
I'm sure the headline's going to say Menin versus Mamdani on this.
This is not about an issue of the mayor versus myself. This is about a bill that passed with 30 votes. And so, again, I think it's an important bill. It's a part of this plan to combat anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitic incidents are on the rise in the city. They're 53% of all of hate crimes, yet the Jewish population is about 12% of the New York City population. So I think it's an important bill that properly balances the First Amendment right to protest, which is sacrosanct. I've been a lawyer for over 25 years. I served in a senior role at the New York City Law Department. We absolutely want to make sure to protect the right to protest, and I think this bill achieved that balance, again, by in no way penalizing protests, but really just saying to the NYPD, if students are being intimidated or harassed or injured, then there should be a perimeter that provides safe access.
I also want to talk about another big news of the week of what happened, the arrest of Councilmember Chiose. He was arrested for physically blocking one of his constituents from being evicted. That at first it looked like a deed theft. It ended up being a bit of a housing dispute. Did you have a conversation, you saw the video, with the police commissioner? Did the NYPD go too far in slamming him to the ground?
I was very concerned by what I saw in the video. I spoke directly with the police commissioner immediately. I went to the precinct to visit with Councilmember Osei and to see him and to speak to him. The video is obviously very concerning. He was there peacefully protesting this issue, and so it was of concern.
And did the police go too far?
I talked directly to the police commissioner about that. I think it's obviously something, when someone is thrown to the ground, that is something of great concern.
The budget is the big conversation happening right now within the council, right? So where do the budget talks stand right now? We know that there is this massive gap to close. The mayor is now considering delaying pension fund payments to ease the gap. Is that something you support?
Well, first of all, we're going to see the mayor's details on that. I had a very productive conversation with the mayor last evening about the budget. I feel confident we are going to get there. The council put forward our plan, which includes a number of different areas of savings and efficiencies that in no way cut services whatsoever. In fact, we restored the cuts to the libraries. We restored the cuts to the cultural institutions. We also have revenue raisers on high income earners. So it's really a mix of different approaches that we took in the council response. And now we look forward to working with the administration on the next steps. We definitely need additional help from Albany. I think that is very clear. I think there's a broad-based agreement on that. And so now we'll move things forward.
But on the pensions, do you agree with that report that's out there that says he wants to ease the pension payments or slow it down a bit to help close the gap?
I think what he wants to do, which is something that we have discussed, is a amortization schedule. It's about basically delaying the payment schedule. So I have not seen the specifics of what exactly he is proposing, but it is something that we have discussed. And so I look forward to seeing the specifics.
You mentioned Albany, and Carl Hastie, the speaker, was out this week saying it's, quote, important for the mayor and the city council to reconcile their budget differences when asked if the state could kick in more money. It didn't sound like he was willing to, and he's leaving it up to the two of you now. Do you need Albany to help? Should they be helping more?
Absolutely. I mean, New York City is representing its fair share in terms of the revenue for Albany, and now we really need Albany to help us. We do have this deficit. We need Albany's support, and that's why the council's plan included, again, a lot of different savings, a lot of different efficiencies, a number of different revenue raisers, and now we look forward to working with the administration. I think we're very united in the fact that we believe Albany should be helping the city more.
And while the budget talks are all happening, of course, top of mind to so many people at home is the affordability crisis. Affordable housing being a big topic of conversation as well, and what to do about it. And you're making a big announcement today about that.
We are. We're in an affordable housing crisis. This is obviously something of great concern. The council generally has been a reactive body, meaning we wait for land use applications, ULURPs, to come to us. I want us to be proactive. So today we're announcing we're putting together a new housing task force that's really going to deal with the building code to try to make changes to the building code so we can build more affordable housing. We're also going to be...
This for office buildings?
This is basically for small lots.
Okay.
There are almost 3,000 small lots. So those little lots when you walk down the street that are overgrown with weeds and rats, and you say, what on earth is that? We can develop those lots. We can really move the affordability conversation forward by changing the building code, and we can potentially build 35,000 units of housing and really address this affordability crisis throughout this outside-of-the-box approach.
And that comes from private development.
It does. It does. And so we're announcing this later today. We're really excited about this. We look forward to working with advocates, with architects, with developers, with labor unions, really across the board, all stakeholders, to really approach this in an outside-of-the-box, proactive way.
All right, Speaker Julie Menin, great to have you on a big day here, and thank you for making that announcement here. Good to talk to you, okay?
Thanks, Dan. Great to see you.
All right, everybody.